This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Fast Break Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And today is our mock draft 5.0. If you last listened to us, we were talking about the NBA playoffs. Those have already started. We already have an upset. The Nets taking game 1 against the Sixers.
Philadelphia 76ers.
Raptors play the Magic right now. We're also watching the Masters to keep up with that. Tigers right now 2 strokes behind the leader. So we're super excited right now. It's going to be a fun time. And we have our mock draft 5.0. We have another one coming out in 2 weeks, correct? And which one is that?
That's the live lotto.
That's the live lotto one, where we will put all the balls into a bingo machine and draft the order. I know you guys have been asking for that, for us to use Tankathon for some of that. That is something that we will be taking into consideration. Might put that into effect next year for Tankathon. Do that for all the regular mock drafts. Still have a live lotto where we make it a little bit special, where we physically pick the order. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that stuff. But so far, we're going to keep it rolling. These are using the Tankathon orders right now, and with the coin flips. So we don't have to talk about anything besides patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast besides that then, because we don't have to talk about what we're going through, because it's all the mock draft today. So if you want to check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast, check out the tiers that we have now. At the bronze tier, you can join our Discord, you can talk to us, and you could also get the mock drafts a week ahead. You might not get a mock draft of the week ahead for the next mock draft. You might just get a big board. That's probably what we'll do, is give you a big board of what we would do, because we can't give you a mock draft because we don't know the order yet.
Yeah, that was tough.
We'll probably give you a big board for the one on the 27th. If you do become a patron for the bronze tier, the silver tier, you get to pick a topic, and then the gold topic, you get to come onto the podcast and talk to us. And next week, we'll have 5 Patreon topics. So it's going to be crazy.
It'll be nuts.
It'll be insane.
You're going to love my nuts, Dave. You're going to love my nuts.
All right.
It's funnier the second time you hear it the same day.
Let's jump in now to the mock draft 5.0. We'll start 1 through 10, 11 through 20, then it will be the second segment, and the 21 through 30 will be the third segment. And then we also are taking into effect now as well. We'll be talking about the 11 through 20s and 21 through 30s. We might not go through every single pick like we will for the 1 through 10, but we will at least talk about it briefly. So every pick will be talked about, and we'll have some discussion on those. So let's start off 1 through 10. Ricky Widmer, start us off.
Well, starting off at number 1, the easiest pick in the entire draft. Whoever's there right now, it's the Knicks. Zion Williamson. They're going to go with Zion. He's going to the Mecca for obvious reasons because he's number 1 overall. Then the Cavs, they're going to go R.J. Barrett. Suns going Ja Morant because point guard's a huge need for theirs. The Bulls, I'm going to do something interesting, something I have not done yet in a mock. I've either had Cam Reddish or maybe Jarret Culver, or maybe just Cam Reddish throughout. I'm going Coby White, though, the guard from UNC at 4. Then at 5, the Hawks go DeAndre Hunter, forward from the Virginia Cavaliers. Wahoo. Then the Wizards go Cam Reddish, forward from Duke at 6. Number 7, Brandon Clark, the forward from Gonzaga, going to the New Orleans Pelicans. Then the Grizzlies, because of the coin flip, go Jarret Culver, the guard from Texas Tech. Hawks via the Mavs at 9, going Bol, the center from Oregon. And then the T-Wolves at 10, going Darius Garland, the guard from Vandy.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that Coby White thing. He did not even make your 1.0. He was not even there. Now he's already a top 5 pick. So a crazy rise for Coby White.
Yep.
We'll talk about him once we get to the Bulls there. But Dave, take us through 1 through 10.
Number 1, I got Zion Williamson going to the Knicks. 2, R.J. Barrett to the Cavs. 3, Ja Morant to the Suns. This is starting to sound familiar. 4, I've got the Bulls taking Jarret Culver. At 5, I've got the Hawks going DeAndre Hunter. At 6, the Wizards taking Bol. At 7, the Pelicans taking Coby White. At 8, the Grizzlies taking Darius Garland. 9, the Hawks going with Jackson Hayes. And at 10, the T-Wolves taking Brandon Clark.
All right, now my 1 through 10, we have Zion Williamson going to the Knicks, the Cavs taking R.J. Barrett, 3, the Suns taking Ja Morant, 4, the Bulls taking DeAndre Hunter, 5, the Hawks taking Jarret Culver, 6, the Wizards taking Brandon Clark, 7, the Pelicans taking Cam Reddish, 8, the Grizzlies taking Darius Garland, 9, the Hawks via the Mavs taking Jackson Hayes, and number 10, the T-Wolves taking Coby White, guard from UNC. Let's start off at number 1, the Knicks taking Zion Williamson. I don't really know what question to ask. I think the question would be, how close is it in your mind then? I guess from 1 to 2. Like obviously Zion, you said it's not even a discussion. What's the biggest concern for Zion that you would see? Is it the fit of where he would be drafted to? Would it be something he actually has control over, like his jumper, or would it just be injury concern?
The only thing stopping him in my mind is if he gets injured. Knocking on that wood. Actually, I'll knock on wood on our board because we actually have it. That's the only thing stopping him. Like, to me, there's, the whole thing that we've talked about of like, oh, can he work on a shot? Absolutely. But I mean, everything that he has and the athleticism he brings to the table, any team would be silly not to take him at number 1. And there's a reason why we've had him at number 1 the entire year.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot we haven't covered on Zion Williamson, so I just think fit-wise with the Knicks, it works out for them perfectly. They're kind of they hit the restart button on their franchise by trading KP. So moving forward with Zion, potentially keeping DSJ there and Kevin Knox, like it's a good young core. And then if they're able to hit in free agency like they hope to, team could be very exciting next year.
Especially if they get Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I mean, even if they get Zion Williamson, it's automatically an upgrade. It's automatically going to make them one of the most intriguing players.
I'll ask that then. Teams. If they just get Zion, say they don't land either the big free agents in typical New York fashion, how many wins does this team end up with? How many wins added is Zion Williamson for this Knicks team?
Well, I think it depends on who they keep, because they still have DeAndre Jordan, who's an expiring free agent, but it sounds like he wants to stay in New York.
Yeah.
I think that they have to be at least good for 25 to 30.
Oh, okay.
Because I think that Dennis Smith Jr. being there for a full year will be huge. You still have Kevin Knox, who's going to have another year of development. Zion Williamson, I think, adds at least 5 wins to a team. If they're actually trying to win, too. I mean, this team was not trying to win.
It's true.
They have Mitchell Robinson, who was an absolute
I forgot Mitchell Robinson. How did I miss
in
Mitchell
the second
Robinson?
half.
Yeah.
Love him.
It's amazing.
They have Dotson, who's a very good three-point shooter. Tiger just set himself up for a birdie again to tie for the lead.
Nice.
I just look at this team, and I think there are very intriguing pieces to this team. And I think, obviously, adding Zion, who we clearly think is the best player in the draft, adding him to this team is just going to make them at least 5 wins better. And that's also not even taking into account that they were purposely trying to lose this year. And I don't think they're going to be trying to lose this year.
I mean, Mario Hezonja tried to stop that. Like, he tried to set them straight at the end of the year.
And Hezonja, if he comes back, too.
I pretty got he doesn't.
Yeah.
That team doesn't deserve him.
If he does come back, he'd be something. I don't know. You like him more than I do. I don't give a shit about Mario Hezonja.
I know. I hope he finds a better home.
I just think Zion would be a player. He's going to win Rookie of the Year no matter what. I think he's at least worth 5 wins. Yeah.
You think that there's nobody who can compete for Rookie of the Year against him?
No.
Not even your guy from last year, who sat the entirety of this year.
Michael Porter Jr. is not going to do it. I think that...
Who?
Michael Porter Jr.
Okay, I heard Michael, and then I heard something else. Like I heard Jordan.
Oh,
I was like Michael Jordan.
Well, I said Ja Morant.
Yeah,
so probably the.
Yeah. I think Zion's going to come in. He's going to put up 18. He's probably going to grab 10 boards. He might even. That's probably underselling him too, because he's going to grab boards.
Okay.
There's no way he's not going to grab boards.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to dish out like a decent amount of assists too. And that's not even talking about his defensive stuff too. I think he's just gonna be a dominant force right away.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to talk about Zion more though.
Well, I like your 25 to 30, but the only thing I think about is I use the Hawks and the Mavs as kind of like an example. They added 2 guards who have been really good, and the Hawks only improved 5 wins this season
by trying to tank for the last month.
And then the Mavericks on their.
The Mavericks tank for
the Mavericks were their like really good tanking, where it's like, hey, they're in this game and they lose.
Well, they traded 4 starters.
Added 9 games.
Yeah, the Mavs could have been a playoff team if they didn't trade away their starters and didn't try to tank to keep their pick.
Yeah,
and then the Hawks, they didn't have an immediate impact from Trae Young right away. It took him a while to get going.
Whereas we're thinking Zion's going to be an immediate impact.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean,
he's going to be
high percent shots, hopefully under the hoop. Hopefully not taking too many of those threes with that interesting form that he has.
I think the biggest thing for him is just going to be turnovers. Maybe he's going to try to do too much and turn the ball over too much. I think that's going to be the biggest thing for him. Any final thoughts on?
I think that's
I think it's the easiest pick in the draft.
Yep. All right, let's go to 2. Cavs taking RJ Barrett. I'm surprised to see RJ Barrett for across the board for you guys, because you guys think that Ja Morant's the second best player in the draft.
But the Cavs have a point guard.
Okay, but we've talked about this before. The with the Cavs,
My opinion has yet to change.
What?
I said my opinion is yet to change.
Yeah, I know.
They have Colin Sexton.
Yes, but I mean, would you rather go BPA here? I mean, do you think John Morant's the best player in the draft?
Yeah,
that's not Zion Williamson.
If it's a big board, I'm putting Ja at number 2. But if the Cavs are at number 2, I'm either taking RJ, or if I don't like RJ for some reason, if I'm the Cavs, I am trading that pick. Those are the only two options. I go with RJ.
And you have a significant gap between Ja and RJ, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you're the same.
I think the top end, RJ, and I think that gap's close at the top. I think the floor is a whole lot different. I think RJ's got a much deeper floor than Zion does, or than John Morant does. Mm-hmm. So I still think that Colin Sexton, I probably gave up on him a little too early when I watched him start play a little better. He still scares me with his lack of facilitation. Not sure quite what that system is yet, because I think Larry Nance might have led them in assists this year, which is special.
I'll double check that.
But no, I think that
sounds about right though.
It does, right? That's the scary thing, even just saying out loud. I think
here's the best thing is I don't have to check you because no one actually cares. Deli actually did 4.2 assists, but for guys that were there the whole season, it was Larry Nance. 3.2.
Nailed it. Which is terrifying. So Colin Sexton, I think we weren't too far off with it. Like, maybe this guy could work better as a 2-guard.
Yeah.
And that's why I think John Morant's still in the running for that role, but RJ Barrett has a similar top end to him and is a wing in a much more valuable role in the current NBA right now. So I think they go with RJ Barrett. They hope to roll forward with those two key pieces together.
I think that Ja's in the discussion, but I'm probably the one that has the closest gap between Ja and RJ, so that's why I'm going with RJ.
Okay.
But if you're talking about can Colin Sexton and John Morant work together, I think they can. I think that offense would be very exciting. Yeah. And I don't think you should rule out John Morant because you have Colin Sexton. Go with the best player you think it is. And if it's a big gap between John Morant and RJ Barrett in your mind, and you think that John Morant's the better player, go with him, because it's just going to help that offense more. It's going to create that spacing. And Colin Sexton was a machine in the last 24 games, 20 points per game, 3.2 assists, 2.4 rebounds. That's not great, but his splits were great. 20 points is great. The 3.2 assists for a guard isn't great. But 47.7% from the field, 41% for 3, 82.6% from the line. He can be a good 2-guard.
How many threes was he taking in that last
like 5 a game?
Yeah, that's his shot selection completely changed over the season, which was awesome, because he was taking inefficient 2s, like long 2s, mid-range game, and then all of a sudden it's like, so you're gonna only do layups and 3s. You good with that? And it turns out yes.
He's very good at it, and he averaged pretty much 6 actually. He went 2.5 per game made to like 5.8 attempts a game, so massive pretty much jump. 2.5 and 6. So yeah, I just think that Tiger's now tied for the lead.
That's so funny.
I think that Colin Sexton could be a 2-guard, and John Morant next to him, especially with Larry Nance, who could space the floor and also be very athletic and move around. Kevin Love, who's going to be coming back, he can obviously space the floor. Tristan Thompson, a very athletic guard, a very athletic big. And you look at some of the other players that they have on this team that can develop into contributors off ball. I think that would be something that you have to consider if you do think that highly of John Morant. Because Gidi can be a guy who could shoot from the outside. They have Stauskas as well. I don't know if he's under contract or not. Clarkson, a guy that can work off ball. Marquise Chris
Clarkson can't work off ball.
Marquise, no, he can't. Marquise Chris was firing up shots. He was shooting like a decent amount of threes when he came over to the Cavs. He's still young too.
Yeah, he can. There's a chance that they can hope for continued development. A la the Alex Len on the Hawks.
Yeah, I'll just look at that one Brooklyn game where he had 23 points and
feel good about yourself.
Went 3 of 6 from 3. Maybe he can redo that again. He also had 6 fouls and fouled out. But
yeah, it surprised me.
I think that it just depends on who you think the best player is.
Do you think
go with it
on that team that Kevin Love is someone that you should plan around him being there throughout these guys' first 4 years, or do you think that he will be moved before the contract's up?
The only player you should plan on being there is Colin Sexton.
Okay.
And that's not saying that Larry Nance shouldn't be there or will get traded. That's not saying Tristan Thompson will get moved to trade. But the guy that will be there for the next 4 years for sure, under his contract, will be Colin Sexton. Okay. And that's no doubt in my mind. Cool. So I think best player available, go with who you think that is. And I think that's RJ Barrett, at least. I think it's splitting hairs really between him and John Morant. Yeah. I just think that if since you are splitting hairs, you go with the wing.
Sounds good.
But it seems like you guys weren't splitting hairs, so that's why I was shocked to see that RJ went second. But let's go to 3. The Suns taking Ja Morant again. Clear.
All hail the
what else
point
do we
guard
need
in
to say?
Phoenix. Like, Jesus Christ, you guys have dodged this pick for a while.
What do you think? And I know that we have the draft pick odds of the 14% to be in the top
Dead
3.
even. Yep.
What's your personal percentage that Phoenix is going to be outside of the top 3? Because
Pretty
for
high.
me, they have to hit in a top 3 because they either need to get Zion at 1 or Ja Morant at 2 or 3. Like, they need Ja Morant. If they get out of the top 3 and don't get Ja, then Phoenix, it's like, great. Like, they could
go
maybe
for
take Kobe White, but like, what if it's a situation where I just tankathoned it right now and it would, this is a different one. This is where the Heat went up to number 1. But like, what if what if the Suns fall all the way to 6? Which could be the farthest they fall.
Mm-hmm. I thought they could go 7. I thought it's 4-spot drop.
Then maybe it's 7. Like 6, 7. That would obviously be the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Same thing you and I did for the Knicks last week. Sean, I want to ask this to you. Mm-hmm. If that's that worst case scenario, what do you do if you're the Suns? If you're 6th or 7th drafting for Phoenix?
I think you have to at least look into possibly trying to move up to get Ja Morant. Because if you're moving down that much, if you're literally falling all the way to 7, that means some weird team jumped you.
Multiple.
So I think that means that the third pick might be movable because that team wasn't expecting to be in the third position. It's kind of like the Kings last year. I think the Kings were trying to shop that. That's why you heard the rumors of Michael Porter Jr. Just seeing like what people thought about Michael Porter Jr. and then also seeing if they want to trade it. So I think you have to definitely explore trading up to get Ja Morant. But if you don't get Ja Morant, I think that you have to pray that Kobe White's still there. And then if not, if Kobe White's not there and obviously Ja Morant's not there and you're not able to move up, I think moving back a couple would also kind of make sense because I think Darius Garland would not be a good fit for that team. I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker might be.
Yes.
Some length, some moving of the ball. I think Garland and Booker play too similar, so I would not like that fit next to each other. So, that being said, I think that there's a couple options that they would have to do. They'd be probably pissed for sure.
They'd get
screwed over.
Because
that's not even Suns. That's just complete screw job.
Because
we don't know what to
that's
expect
Bret
this year.
Hart.
We don't know what to expect
levels.
this year, though. Like, that's the crazy thing about it.
No, for sure. And then we'll obviously see that when we do our live
wait.
thing.
Because I just did it right now on Tanline. It's Pelicans, Mavs, Cavs are your top 3. Bulls at 4, Knicks at 5, Suns at 6. So that's a situation of what could happen if they end up at 6. And this has them going DeAndre Hunter.
Read off that thing again.
So Pelicans at 1.
Okay.
They've got Zion.
Yeah.
Mavs at 2. Tankathon says RJ Barrett.
RJ. Agree.
Cavs at 3. They say Jarret Culver. Then Bulls at 4. Ja Morant. Knicks at 5. Cam Reddish. And then Suns at 6. DeAndre Hunter.
It's questionable.
Mavs go Culver is what you said?
Mavs go RJ. Cavs go Culver.
Cavs go Culver.
Yeah, not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think the Suns would have to try to trade up though, because if the Mavs are there, that would be a team that I could think moves back. Because the reason why you wanted that pick for the Mavs was because you're not going to have a pick next year. Well, if you're going to give them a pick next year, I think that might
do that.
swallow it, and then you're also moving back. So I think if the Mavs are able to put themselves in a position where they literally just traded Luka Doncic for Trae Young in some way, where they're able to get a first round pick next year, and not lose a first round pick.
And it'd be the Cavs' first round pick, so you're going to get back a pretty good lottery chance.
Suns.
I'm sorry, the Suns, yeah. So, pretty good lottery chance.
They wouldn't
Top
be able to
5
trade
protected?
it because they have the 2021 they gave up. But still, if you're able to get a first round pick, I think
sort of
that
softens that blow.
Yeah. So that's what I think the Suns would have to do. But if there are 3, Ja Morant's available, they're taking Ja Morant. Bulls, this is where it gets interesting. I have DeAndre Hunter, you have Kobe White, and Dave, you have Jarret Culver. You obviously, Culver's been a very consistent pick here for some of us.
Yep.
We've kind of changed it up a bit. Tell us briefly about Culver. Why is he a good fit with the Bulls?
If you watched his last 2 games, you probably saw some of the worst play of Jarret Culver all year.
And that was my biggest concern.
Yep.
My biggest concern for Jarret Culver was him being in a spotlight as a scorer.
Yep.
And you saw what happened, and he was
he felt
really
the pressure.
bad.
He got doubled like crazy. Like, he got smothered.
Nothing was worse than the shot where they're down 4, like 36 seconds left. He comes up on the right side and just fires up a 3. That is not Jarret Culver.
I will say this, though, and this is giving the benefit of doubt for Jarret Culver. In the Final 4, he played a very well-coached team and a very veteran-savvy team in Michigan State. And then in the championship played one of the best defensive teams year in and year out in Virginia. So, I mean, it wasn't like he was playing random Joe Schmo this time.
Okay, but he's going up against players that either are extremely great college players or pros, like let's say DeAndre Hunter, and that's concerning.
I'm just saying.
Especially guys like Tony Bennett, who's rumored for NBA jobs every now and then, and Tom Izzo, who's built up one of the best blue bloods in college basketball. It is concerning that when you're looked to be a number one scorer, that you do not perform. Because that's not what he is, and that was my biggest concern for him.
Yes. That's the whole point, is he was put into a role that I don't think he is actually, I don't think he is a number one scorer. I think he is a complimentary guy. He is an off-ball handler. He's going to be that second guy on your team to help you win games. I don't expect him to take the load night in, night out, which is what they're asking him to do, because they really didn't have many options at Texas Tech.
And with the Bulls, he wouldn't have to be, because Zach's our number one.
Exactly.
Then it goes, Lowry and then Otto?
Yeah.
And then maybe, Jarret would maybe be mixed in with Otto because he'd be in the second unit.
Yeah, we'd have to see how that one would play out.
But he's not the number one for sure, because Zach's our number one.
Yep. So I think that if you overvalue those last couple of games, I can see why a guy like DeAndre Hunter, you would want him, because he absolutely played up in that championship game. Incredibly efficient, good usage, and defensively he was everywhere you want him to be. So I think it's a very close thing, but I like the ability for Jarret Culver to be a secondary ball handler. I just think there's extra value there. So
All right, but let's talk about Coby White, because I think it's a very intriguing.
Yeah.
I think it's a bold pick.
I mean,
I liked it.
What got me thinking about it was actually Dave and I last week when we did the segment on is Coby White a top 10 pick.
Yep.
We talked about maybe the Bulls. And maybe we were talking if the Bulls move back and we fall in the draft and kind of worst case scenarios for the Bulls. And then I saw some of the commenters were Coby White top 10 pick. No, he could be a top 5 pick. And at first I was like, no, you're crazy. He's not going to be a top 5. And then I started thinking about it. And the Bulls at 4. And one of our biggest needs is point guard. Duh.
Yep.
One of the biggest reasons why is Chris Dunn is up at the end of the year, and we're going to have to make a decision of what we're going to do. Are we going to bring him back for a reasonable price? Is someone as an RFA going to throw him a contract that we can't match or that we have to match? And
we don't want
do
to
we
match?
want to overpay him? Do we just let him walk? There's so many situations you can do with Chris Dunn to where I feel that is a huge need. And although Coby White might be a little bit of a reach for some people here, I feel like for the Bulls, he could be a sleeper pick because he can shoot from beyond the arc. He shoots a good percentage from the field. The only thing is he doesn't go to the line a lot, but we don't need him to drive because we got Zach, who's the main driver of this team. Look at how Otto Porter came in. I know he's not a point guard, but how he came in, not as a driver, as a shooter, and really helped us out.
Yeah.
And although he's not racking up as many assists as Ja, he can still get the ball to people. And I think he could be a better point guard for us than Chris Dunn is. And then if we need to have Dunn in, we can maybe switch White to the 2 guard in some situations and some rotations.
I disagree about the 2 guard thing with Chris Dunn. I think Chris Dunn's being underrated. The biggest thing that Chris Dunn doesn't have for him is just health.
Or shooting.
I think ideally though, he is probably he's not the best, but that would be a point guard that you would want for this Bulls team. You want a defensive guy who can move the ball around, and Chris Dunn can do that. The biggest thing that I would worry about with Coby White is, will he be enough of a facilitator to really help this offense? Because that's what I think you need on this team, is to be a facilitator. I think I like him a little bit more for the Bulls than, let's say, a Darius Garland. But I like Darius Garland more as a player. I think Darius Garland is a more impactful offensive player than Coby White. And the biggest concerns that I do have for Coby White is he was playing on a team in UNC that was so senior heavy and was so well coached. And if he's not put in those same positions to flourish, where you're using his best skills to help the team, and he's just kind of left to do it on his own or play off of guys like Zach LaVine and Otto Porter Jr. and Lauri Markkanen, if he is not in a position to succeed and flourish and he's trying to find his way, will he be able to do that? because then I think he might just go into that idea of I need to score. And I think that's what he kind of felt like late on in UNC's season when we're talking more near the the conference tournament against Duke and the games against Iona and Washington and Auburn. I felt like he felt like he was in a position to score a lot because he was 4-14, 4-14, 6 of 11, 4-15. If his shot's not falling, can he be a facilitator for his teams? And in those 4 games, he averaged 3.5 assists, which is not what that team needed. That team needed ball movement. That team needed to open up Cam Johnson outside. They needed to open up Luke May down low, and they were not able to do that, and that's why they lost to Auburn. And I think that's...
To be fair, Luke May was getting massacred down low. Mm-hmm. Like that was a bad matchup for that team, and I agree. Like he didn't help them by leaning into it, but like they had opportunities.
Even outside of that, I think they just just in general, the Washington game, the Iona game, the Duke game, the ball wasn't being moved a ton, and that is on Kobe White. And even if that's not his game, he needs to be able to do he needs to be able to do that in the NBA, especially if he's going to the Bulls, because that's what the Bulls need is a guy who's going to move the ball around.
Well, and I mean, I also throw out there too, as you're saying what you're saying, Sean, I was kind of thinking of like the Bulls right now starting lineup. If we came back with the same starting 5 next year, Rolo being the big question mark, because he said like, hey, I'd love to come back and play with these guys. Wendell coming off of injury will be interesting too. But if we came back with like Chris Dunn, Zach, Otto, and Markkanen, I'm not upset with that. And if we have Kobe White, maybe what we can do and help him kind of develop as a player too is, all right, your main role to start the season is you are our number 2 point guard behind Chris Dunn, and then we just see what happens.
Disrespect to Archie Diacono.
I mean, Archie's good. I would say keep Archie. But I mean, with me, Kobe would be. I love Archie. He's the guy. He's gonna scrap. He's gonna put his body on the line.
The favorite comment that I've heard about Archie Diacono is that he's the white Kirk Heinrich.
I love Kurt Heinrich.
I love reading that.
The white Kirk Heinrich.
I love Kurt Heinrich.
Yeah. No, Ryan Archidiacono is
Chicago
a permanent
hero.
bench guard, and he would instantly be passed up by Kobe White. I think that
the question is disrespect to Walt Lemon Jr., Dave.
You mean Derrick Rose Jr.?
And if we get Kobe White, or we bring him back D Rose?
Oh God,
because those rumors.
There's so many questions that just instantly round.
But no,
hold on. Do you actually want D Rose back?
If we do not draft a point guard, I would not be upset with bringing him back for a year.
Do you want him back?
I mean, I'm not actively saying, hey, let's bring back D Rose, but like if we brought him back, I wouldn't be mad.
Bone chips in his elbow.
You want him back?
I'd be mad.
I would take him back. I would take him back. I'm a blind fan of the Bulls. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Dave, he's got bone chips in his elbow.
What I want to say about
Please
this
come back, D Rose.
I would rather take any other point guard.
He could be our
in the
Lou
draft.
Will.
No, he cannot. He will take away shots from whoever.
Who on our bench do you want taking a shot? Name a Jakar Sampson? Shaq Harrison?
You're better.
Archie Diacono?
Because those guys are going to be actually on the team next year. You can still go out and sign
Cristiano.
guys. Okay, Felicio will be on the team.
Yeah, because that dumb contract.
He can be 15 man. I mean,
but no, we literally don't have bench scoring. Mm-hmm. So we've been relying on Shaq Harrelson to do that. Wayne Selden.
But that's the team this year. You can still sign and add players to that bench. And the thing that I look at with D Rose is he's not going to want a 1-year deal.
Yep.
He's going to want a long-term deal.
I mean, we'll give him.
And I think this whole documentary thing is a big thing from his agents to warm up Chicago and the front office to the idea of bringing him back.
I'd give him 2 and 16 probably.
That's a lot.
$8 million a year for D Rose.
I mean, he's
super worth.
Here's the thing that I will say: 18 points per game. He put up very similar numbers to what he did with the Knicks.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was inflated by the first 25 games he played.
Yeah.
Because
his 3-point percentage went.
The last 25 games, he shot 22% from three.
He had bone spurs in his elbow.
And he's still going to have
shot's
those.
going to go bad. He's getting rid of them. It needs time.
Another surgery.
Needs time.
I would be, if you're a Bulls fan, highly consider what D Rose is. It's not just D Rose the player and the fact that number 1 will be back on on the back of his jersey.
At the same time, we're not competing for the playoffs next year.
Okay, but you still need to build up your youth.
Good
you're
point,
taking
Dave.
away shots from Kobe White. You're taking away shots from Lauri Markkanen. You're taking away shots from Wendell Carter Jr. You're taking away shots from Otto Porter. You're taking away shots from much more important
bench point guard. I think he would be a Lou Williams role, and I don't think there's a lot of harm in that because our
the
team,
second
unless
Kobe White starts to play worse, you're gonna get chance from the United Center that D Rose should be starting.
I don't even think we'd wait that long. But the point being,
and then
they should clearly
you're
add
hurting
Jarret Culver in free agency.
You're hurting your team.
Bench scoring. He's our new point guard.
I think Kobe White's an interesting pick. I think it's just a little bit too much of a reach.
Here's the thing. I don't think I think it could be seen as a reach, but if you get the guy that works out for the system, like I foresee Chris Dunn going into a Marcus Smart role on this team in the future. Like, I don't know that any team's going to offer him a lot of money to go elsewhere unless the Suns get sunsed, and then they could try to make a move for a player like him.
Just so I heard you say Chris Dunn?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Who else would I be talking about?
I don't know. We were mentioning Kobe. We were mentioning D Rose.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure I heard you
I'm
right.
trying to reset. I'm saying
Okay.
Chris Dunn, more of a secondary role player like Marcus Smart would be to this team, where he can come in, add that toughness, still be able to drive and kick. But I think Kobe White, I see him working in Chicago.
Because, and take the D Rose thing aside, let's say we draft Kobe White. The thing, that you were saying, Sean, that I could maybe see working is, like I said, okay, you're going to be the 2 guard behind Chris Dunn, and he can work on his skills with the second unit, and then we don't have any problems to start the season with him with him causing problems. It doesn't hurt Chris Dunn in his development, but if it goes down the season and we see, hey, Kobe White is kind of developing and he's better than Chris Dunn, then we can make the flip, or we can keep him with the second unit the whole year.
Yeah, I'm just with the D Rose thing. I'm just saying,
Got him derailed with D Rose.
go young.
Chris Dunn's 25.
Yeah, and he's not bad. He's just not healthy.
I'm just saying it.
And
He was
I think,
22 when he came out, though?
yeah, he was a senior.
Yeah.
I think he just hasn't been healthy, and I think he could still be a fine bench player. I went away from that because I don't think there's a point guard worth taking it for. I went DeAndre Hunter because I know you guys have wing help already with Otto Porter, and they might be a similar player. Both guys that can shoot from the outside, both guys that can drive. But DeAndre Hunter does seem like a very good glue guy. He's clearly a great defender. And I think that the biggest thing that he could provide to this Bulls team is just a consistent player that can come off the bench. And you don't have to worry about Shaq Harrison. You don't have to worry about Jakar Sampson. You don't have to worry about Ryan Arcidiacono.
We do technically still have Denzel Valentine and Hutch. So,
DeAndre Hunter's better than both of them. It's not even close.
Is he?
Question.
Yes.
Question
Denzel Valentine is horrible.
Is he?
Yes.
Have
you been talking to John Paxson?
I'm just messing with you.
Here's the question I want to ask for you, since you brought up DeAndre Hunter. That when I watched that last game, I sat back and I said 2 things. Great. DeAndre Hunter is going to shoot up draft boards just because of this game. That's number 1. Number 2, Kyle Guy is going to be seen as, now I know DiVincenzo had a great combine, which added to it. But people are going to look at Kyle Guy as we can take him in the second round because he's going to have that same DiVincenzo type
He's a
of
second rounder.
that
DiVincenzo was a top
type
20
of
pick.
No, I know, but the combine helped DiVincenzo even more. DiVincenzo coming into that championship game was not
Say
where
his
he
name
finished.
correctly, Ricky.
White Dante. But the question I want to ask you, Sean, is do you think as we get close to the draft, is DeAndre Hunter going to shoot up draft boards mainly because of how he played in the final game and the final 2 games, especially that final game with that shot he was making?
4.55. How much higher do you think he can go?
Yeah, that's the thing is, I think the highest we've had him is 7. So that's just a couple jumps for him. And the biggest reason he jumped for me is because people fell. The highest we've had him was 5. 1.0, Dave had him at 5, going to the Knicks. So this is a 1-spot jump from that. And it's not really his performance, because I love his performance. I thought he was fantastic in that game. 4 of 5 from 3, 8 of 16 from the field. Played well defensively. I loved the play that he made. I don't like the replay, but when that shot was long. He didn't chase after the ball. He tried to poke it out loose and stop transition, because his team didn't need the ball possession right there. They just needed to force Texas Tech to take a worse shot than a transitional layup or foul. They did foul him. It wasn't Hunter's fault, but Hunter made a great play just popping that ball loose. I think he's a very smart player. I think the Bulls need that. The Bulls don't really need a starter outside of point guard. I think their starting 5 is pretty set. Levine, Porter, Markkanen, and Wendell Carter. I think that's a very, very good starting 5, probably the best starting 5 out of anyone picking the top 5.
I'd agree.
I think the biggest thing they need is obviously point guard, and I think Hunter, he can just provide you more versatility. He could provide you a very good leader. He could provide you a very good glue guy. And I think he might not be, again, an eye-popping player, but he has rose to occasion in big games, and he's very consistent. He's not a guy that's just going to end his night, kind of like Zion. Zion is always consistent. He's always out there putting up consistent, numbers. He's always putting out consistent effort. And Hunter is the same way. Hunter's always going to give you consistent effort and consistent minutes. And I think he's kind of similar to Wendell Carter Jr. in the way as well. Wendell Carter had a very low floor, and I think Hunter has high floor. And I think Hunter also has a very high floor.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why I like Hunter there. It's just because wings are always necessary in the NBA, and adding a guy in Hunter who is so consistent would be a very smart move.
Should I have phrased it this way? Is he a lock top 5 pick now because of what we saw?
No, I still think it's situational depending on, the team's rising and falling.
Because this is the first time we've had him in the top 5 recently. The 3.0, we all had him at 7, and then we had him all out of the top 5 in the 4.0 too.
Yeah. No, I think it depends a lot on the teams there. It's just, fit is one. I think fit goes into it a lot. As much as you want to say take the best player available, his fit.
And you
on
are
this
a
team
fit be damned guy.
You guys over exaggerate shit sometimes, but we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Maybe on the Wizards.
I thought you were keeping going. What were you going to say about fit though?
I was just saying, I think that it's entirely up to fit for DeAndre Hunter. Like, if you're a team who needs a wing who can shoot threes and play defense, which is nearly every team, unless you value, potential special players like, Jarret Culver's ability to be a secondary ball handler, someone like maybe a Bull being, that next unicorn up. There are a couple of those guys who could, leapfrog him, but outside of that, like, he is consistency. I
think the biggest thing we didn't do, too, is compare Hunter and Culver because they're very similar. Both sophomores, both guys who are near 6'8". I know Culver is listed as 6'5", but that guy's bigger than 6'5".
Yep.
And they're both going to be 2 threes. And I think that if we're comparing those two, Hunter is a better player than Culver. And that's why I went with
Do you think Hunter can guard 2s? I don't know about him being a 2 anymore. I think he's more of a 3-4 in my mind.
I could see him guarding 2s.
All right.
He might be too slow.
Yeah,
but
I worry about the foot speed. That's all.
Yeah, but I think he's still long enough where, even if a guy gets by him, he could still contest shots.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest strength. He's not going to be able to guard like a Kobe White or anything like that. But if he's going up against a guy like Romeo Langford or if he's going up against Culver, we obviously saw that.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the size of the two.
Okay.
So I think he could be very flexible. If we're throwing out a lineup of Levine, let's say Levine plays the 1, Hunter at the 2, Porter at the 3 or whatever like that, I'd rather have Hunter guarding 2s than Otto Porter.
Fair enough.
So that's my feelings. Any other thing about the Bulls?
No, I think we've given the people the Bulls love.
Let's move to the Hawks. Culver for me, Hunter for Ricky, Hunter for Dave. Still same line thinking. We just said we compare these guys. Yep. Both 2 threes, both guys that can shoot from the outside in different situations. Culver needs to be more of a spot-up shooter than an actual pull-up shooter. But Culver does bring secondary ball handling. I like him there. Cam Reddish should probably be in consideration for the Hawks here because they do need a 2-3. But the biggest thing that sticks out for me for Culver over Reddish is I can look at him and I could say that's something I'm taking, at least from a basketball perspective. I don't know what Reddish is bringing outside of his body and outside of his potential. He's going to bring athleticism. He's going to bring that body. He's going to bring potential.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I don't know what basketball skills he is bringing fully to the court that he's shown consistently through the past year at Duke. He's obviously shown a lot in high school, and that's something that needs to be taken into consideration. But when we're looking strictly at college performance, he did not perform to the level that he should have, and he should not be in the top 5. And Culver, yes, he had 2 bad games, and that's probably going to leave a bad taste in people's mouth. But he is a guy that can be a secondary ball handler, and you don't really need that with Trae Young. But I think with his ability to shoot from the outside and his defensive ability to help Trae Young is the biggest reason why I'd pick him. And also Trae Young running off screens and having Culver lead, I don't think would be horrible. Because Trae Young can be so quick. And if you use him in like a Isaiah Thomas role, that'd be fun to watch. I'd rather have Trae Young use the ball with the ball in his hands because he's such a great passer and has great vision.
Yeah.
But I think Culver brings exactly the kind of guard I would want next to Trae Young, and I think it's a perfect fit there for the Hawks.
Yeah, I think that Jarret would be a good fit, but he's just off the board for me. I think Ricky and I both saw. DeAndre Hunter is the like, hey, we want to be the Warriors. Let's go get somebody who can shoot threes yet again, because they already did that with Kevin Huerter. So just going to tag in another wing who can shoot threes. This one plays a little bit better defense. I just think that who made a shot where?
No, Tiger just could have. Molinari went up one stroke. Tiger's still at 11 under. He just barely missed a birdie putt. It didn't break enough. Sorry.
It's all right.
He's done for the day. He's at negative 11.
All right. But yeah, no, I just think it's a perfect fit for this Hawks team. It gives them yet another guy on the wing who can help them out going forward. And you're one step closer to competing. They were a super fun team to end the year.
Yeah, for this one, it was fit because I am the only one out of all of us that had both Hunter and Culver on the board because White going 4. And for me, it's kind of like what Dave said. First off, the 3-point ability that Hunter did show, especially late in that championship game, could be appealing to the Hawks. And number 2, I look at both the guard and small forward position. So if we look at the shooting guard, Bazemore and Huerter. Herter's going to be your starter moving forward. Bazemore is that guy after 2019 is even on this team anymore. Whereas with small forward, you've got Taurean Prince, who in 2 years is an RFA. I'm pretty sure he's going to be re-signed and is the future at small forward. DeAndre Bembry could be walking. Could just be walking after 2 years.
I think they like him. I think he's a guy who has like a good toolkit.
They like
He's
him.
like Chris Young or Chris Dunn. I don't think anyone's gonna be knocking on the DeAndre Bembry door.
If I can draft DeAndre Hunter and then DeAndre Hunter could take Bembry's spot as the number 2 small forward behind Taurean Prince, or in 2 years, it then creates hey, who out of these guys, maybe DeAndre Hunter plays up, and by that going into the 3rd year, we're talking about him being, he is now the starting 3 for the Hawks. So
this is a team that's probably not competing, so bench guys are getting minutes.
And then you could probably have a starting 3 of a future starting 3 of Trae Young at 1, Huerter at 2, Hunter at 3. The defense at 2 and 3 is like, oh my God, give me that.
Yeah.
And that's why I picked Hunter over Culver.
No, I think they're setting themselves up with a really good young core, and I always want more wangs. That's just the default
so
answer.
Many wings.
If there was and I know we had all mocked Jackson Hayes as the highest center in this draft, but he's not worth it at 5.
Yeah.
It's just that would be a reach, and everyone reminds there's just talent between. So
well, and right now they also have a 2nd pick.
That's the other part. So I think that you go for a wing here, you add that depth, and you can kind of fill in those guys. I'm not ready to give up on anybody in that young group yet.
Yeah. You are not in the situation of having Culver and Hunter on the board at the same time. Who would you go with for the Hawks, though, if you did?
If I had the choice, I would probably lean Jarret Culver.
Okay, I would lead Hunter, but Hunter's off my board. I do like his defense better, and I think he'd be much better next to Trae Young.
Yeah.
Just because I think he is a better 3-point shooter. I think that's the biggest thing that I would want for that.
Yeah.
It's literally just spacing and 3-and-D monster.
My only concern, and I think you covered this a little, was Trae Young sometimes gets doubled and overwhelmed, and no one else in that starting lineup could walk with the ball. No one else can dribble the ball and move forward. It's literally that hard to ask for. So I see Jarret Culver as someone who can take some pressure off of him, so the teams can't just smother the ball out.
Well, you know who would be a good fit for them? D Rose.
Great fit.
I'm kidding.
Impeccable.
Let's move now to the Wizards at 6. I have Brandon Clark, Ricky, you have Cam Reddish, and Dave, you have Bol Bol. A lot of weird picks here because Bol Bol, again, we know my fit on him.
He's amazing.
I'm not too high on him. Brandon Clark, for me, that's probably way too much of a reach.
Yeah, you're Brandon Swanson up in here.
Yeah, and then Cam Reddish is a little bit of an enigma. So let's start with Cam Reddish. Clearly, he's been a guy that's been consistently in our top 5. Now outside of the top 5, what was the biggest reason he fell for you?
So the biggest reason he fell for me is, first off, the Bulls deciding to take Kobe White over a 3, and then just the Hawks going with DeAndre Hunter over because Cam Reddish, to me, I feel for the Cam Reddish supporters that are in our comment section when they say he could be the biggest sleeper. As Dave pulls up what I was looking at, the Magic on top of the Raptors right now, 57-49. Love it.
At halftime.
But with Reddish, the comment section, what I do feel is when we get the comments that are like, oh, Cam Reddish could be the biggest sleeper in the draft, I kind of want to agree with them. I kind of want to say, hey, Cam Reddish is going to be the guy we all rag on, coming into this year.
Yeah.
And then in like 2 or 3 years, we're like, hey, remember how much
He's
we
the Jaylen
hated
Brown of
Cam
this
Reddish?
draft.
Exactly.
I have the same feeling.
Like,
I'm terrified of this
Remember when we bashed Jaylen Brown and
No.
said he was like
We
garbage
said-
almost?
No, we said he was years away from being a viable NBA
But he
player.
wasn't
because
Bruno. He
has
wasn't
the
2 years
body.
away from being 2 years away.
Correct. He had NBA body. He had NBA athleticism, but we did not see the skill
Yes.
set there yet. And obviously the Boston Celtics knew they had something and built him up, and he is quite a good player.
And the reason why I had this for the Wizards is there's already news that John Wall isn't sure he's going to play next year.
Correct.
So that's another year without John
Just
Wall.
take a point guard.
And it's like, like I thought about it. If Kobe White was there, I would have thought about it.
I honestly did.
But I mean, with Reddish, because next year without John Wall might be a wash also, and you might be trying to tank for a higher draft pick, like it could just be a year of like, hey, you're going to play with Bradley Beal, and this is just going to be a development year for you to kind of get ready and see what you can do. And then John Wall's first year back, we see how this team is. He starts to progress more. Maybe by that his third year, Wall's second year back from injury, Beal, I want to say that would be his contract year. That could be like the prime season for the Wizards because Beal might play out. It's contract year. Wall will be hopefully healthy off of a
Beal should already
injury.
have a supermax at that point,
Okay.
ideally.
If the Wizards are smart. I mean, they did.
Or if they're dumb.
They're going to have.
I've yet to see a supermax worked out.
They're going to have some front office change, which Dave might be excited about.
Gone.
But yeah, that's why I went Reddish for the Wizards right here at, what would this be, 6?
Yeah. I think, again, I'm not bashing the pick in any way. I think that Reddish is such an intriguing prospect because he has everything you want in a prospect.
You either love him or
except
you hate him.
Production. Except playing
We've never seen
basketball
a top
well.
pick play this poor, shoot these poor percentages, but yet you watch him like playing defense. He's engaged. He's aggressive. Like him coming back in the tournament helped.
Yeah.
Like you watch that one game difference. It was like, wow, yeah, he is on it.
But even then, there's points where like he's on it, but then even then like he could be on it and he's just not even like locking guys up. Like that was some of the previous things that I saw before the tournament.
Yeah, the tournament really for me was a turning point.
Was that he definitely showed a lot of defensive potential there. But the defensive potential kind of always was there for him. It was just
6'9".
Yeah, he just never kind of consistently had it.
Yep.
And the biggest thing that I just worry about with him is like maybe he just doesn't like his confidence might be struck too much. And it's
true.
I'd believe it.
If he goes to a place like Washington, will he have the ball in his hands enough? And that's a problem I think we had at Duke was that he didn't have the ball enough.
Year one,
weirdly
he will,
enough.
though, because John Wall won't be playing.
But I mean, like you're putting him out there with Troy Brown Jr., who's this past year's draft pick, who only got playing time at the very end of the season, had like 2 good performances. The rest were like bleh. But I don't know. I think that team has a bad head coach, so the whole growing talent right now concerns me. Like you got to remember, John Wall and Bradley Beal came in under a different regime, grew their talents, and there was a coach swap. And I think that I have concerns about how well they can continue to develop players. So Troy Brown basically sitting, a majority of the year without getting legitimate minutes concerns me for a team that had no real chance of making the playoffs once John Wall got sat down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with that. And this whole organization has been a mess recently.
Yeah.
And I made my feelings known about Scotty Brooks. He should not be a coach in the NBA. Grunfeld getting fired is huge.
It's a first step.
But a big thing that is concerning me is that Scotty Brooks hasn't been fired yet. And we've been in that firing season with Yeager and Luke Walton and J.B. Bickerstaff. and
Yeager go over to Washington now?
He could.
I mean,
That'd
he's
be
an asshole,
interesting.
so
Yeah.
work out.
And I'm surprised. Like there was actually confirmed reports that have come out and said he's kind of hard to deal with.
Yeah.
And it's not too shocking. But I think the thing with Cam Reddish is I think he needs to be a place where he needs to grow a little bit more, and that's why I like him at the Pelicans because he'll be with Drew Holiday, who moves the ball around. Anthony Davis will be gone, and he'll be getting a lot of shots. But I think Cam Reddish, at least for the Wizards, in theory, get a guy with potential. He has the most potential. I think it's a smart pick.
Does he have the most potential? Because I think a Bull has the most potential.
Get into it.
I'm just saying, the man's 7 feet plus with a damn near record-setting wingspan, and he is one of the best shooters we've seen, bar none, let alone the fact he's 7 feet and can fucking sling it from the outside. He's a goddamn trebuchet. I love his stroke from the outside, and I get it. People are like, look how terrible he is at defense. And I think that's overblown. I think it's an overblown story because you look at the Ducks and their performance when he was there and the performance after he was gone, and you see the difference because they were playing basically a version of a zone defense at a lot of the times, and a lot of the highlights of people kind of blowing past him. And I have to give credit to Reddit. I can't remember the guy's name, but they were like kind of dissecting a lot of the plays. And it's like, yeah, he covers him through his zone. And then there was clearly someone supposed to, this guy, pick him up and didn't make the transition, didn't make the switch. Like, yes, he's not elite on his feet. He doesn't have elite footwork, but he is something absolutely special. And I don't know that I could pass him up over Cam Reddish, where we've seen a lot of very good wings. How many guys have we seen at 7'2" who can shoot at 50-something% from three from the outside in college? That'd be zero.
He was 12 of 26.
Zero.
It's like saying, looking at D Rose's first 25 games and saying, oh, D Rose is a great three-point shooter.
He was before he hurt his elbow.
He showed for 25 games. It is a 10-plus year
before he got hurt.
That he was a good three-point shooter.
Yes.
I'm just saying it was a very small sample size for Bol Bol. I'm not going to say this.
I don't disagree. I think he's closer to a above league average. I think he's in that 36 to 41 range. I think he's seriously close to an elite three-point shooter.
Will he play 36 to 41 games?
Yes.
In his career?
He will absolutely. Sean, we're betting your hair, right? That was the deal?
What?
We're betting your hair on Bol Bol's games?
We did?
Yeah. Check out that video.
What was my bet? Oh, fuck.
I know. You have the Knicks bet, too.
Oh,
we got the Knicks bet, too.
You're buying the... we actually have a commenter.
Eddie Curry jersey.
But there was a commenter that gave a worse player than Eddie Curry.
Who was that?
I'd have to look it up.
Andrea Bargnani?
No, not Bargnani. I know we got a comment on it.
Bargnani?
You said that wrong.
But yeah, I know we got that comment, too.
But what was my bet with the Bol Bol thing?
I think you're going
to shave your head because we wanted you to get to shave your eyebrows, too. And you wouldn't.
Yeah. But if I said he would never play over 70 games in it,
I forget what the count was.
We'd have to go back and check.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Because you think he's going to get injured.
Yeah, I think the kid's going to play. I think he's special. I think the minutes will have to be under a close watch. But at the same time, he's going to be special. And that upside is so high that I don't think I could pass up on him for someone like Cam Reddish.
Special again, Dave.
Special.
The ceiling's high, the floor is very low. And that's the thing that concerns me.
You take a stab in the dark, you're the fucking wizard.
Well, that's why I think you take a stab in the dark of Brandon Clark.
No, that's not a stab in the dark.
Yes,
that's a known player who is old but has established himself.
I think the big thing about him is it too high? And I think that people are thinking that he has a very limited ceiling and a very kind of high floor. And I look at Brandon Clark and I think that he might be able to be a little bit more than that. Because yes, his size does concern me. He's like 6'9". Might be 6'10" or around there. We don't have the official measurements yet, but he's around 6'8" to 6'9", to 6'10". And I think that he might be seen as just a 4 that cannot shoot, which is fair. He does not have a very great 3-point record. 4 or 15 this year is nothing like Bol Bol.
Yeah.
Shooting 26%. But he's a decent free throw percentage, free throw shooter. 109 to 57 157 this year at 69.4%. It's not bad for a 4. And if he's able to get that up to 75%, I would really wonder about his 3-point shooting because his form's not off. He's got a decent form for a shot. So if he's able to put a lot of work into that, I think that he might be able to become a stretch 4. And even if he doesn't, defensively and just offensively, he is shown to be a possible monster. And you look at his disruptiveness when it comes to blocking shots, it is unmatched in this draft. And I think the biggest thing for him is that he doesn't have those concerns about his movement and it's about his athleticism. And that's the biggest thing that I really love about Brandon Clark.
And he's got a sweet spin move to the basket, too, coming off from the top of the key. So that's kind of fun.
And I think he's going to be a great runner to the rim, too.
Yeah.
And I think pairing that next to John Wall and and Bradley Beal would be a very nice pairing. And yes, they have Thomas Bryant, who's played very well at the 5 position. He's already undersized as well, but I don't think the size is too important in the NBA now. Obviously, if you're like 7'3" and can shoot the 3, that's huge. But
boom.
We have seen a smaller NBA coming in and a lot of mixed and blends of 4s and 5s and 3s and wings.
And he's got good enough speed, especially to keep up in transition.
And he's got a very good vertical.
Yep.
That can make up for his size, so he could have explosiveness to make up for that discrepancy height wise. So I think Brandon Clark would be a very nice fit there to be a shot blocking 4.
I like him. I just don't know how much more upside there is left to him that we haven't seen. Like you said, the shot, can it get better? Potentially. But to what extent? He's never really going to truly stretch out to the 3-point line, except if he's like Brook Lopez-esque, and it's just like when you're like, I'm going to just practice 3s all summer and come in and just chuck up a shit ton.
We saw it with Blake, too. Blake was later on in his career, Blake was known as dunker, went to Detroit and now shoots 3s.
He's not Blake, but I see like a very
there.
flat Diet Pepsi version of Blake.
Okay.
I think that he's very athletic, he's very fluid, and he's very, very smooth. Mm-hmm. And I really like that from Brandon Clark. I don't know if he'll ever be a ball handler like Blake is. I don't know if he'll have the mid-range that Blake has. I don't think he'll ever be like a guy who dishes out 5 assists a game like Blake did this year. I don't think he'll ever be that. But if you're looking at a guy who can be very smooth and attack the basket and also play better defense than Blake, I think Brandon Clark is your guy.
All right.
I mean, that's why Blake went 1 and Brandon Clark's going 6.
Yeah.
Let's move to 7 now. Pelicans. I haven't taken Cam Reddish. Ricky, you have him going Brandon Clark. And Dave, you have him going Kobe White. Why Kobe White here? Because I have him a little bit later. Why do you like him going to the Pelicans?
I think it's perfect pairing next to Drew. I think that he comes in and is able to eat some minutes. I know we had the Alfred Payton April again. Like, joke's on. It's funny.
With 5 straight triple doubles.
Yeah, super great. Games that don't matter. Like that's he's king of the games that don't matter. Mm-hmm. Is he gonna be good ever? Like consistently, probably not. So I take Kobe White here. He can be a 1 or 2. I think he comes in off the bench, gives them good minutes, and is able to contribute to this team. I think
Why
he can take that.
Why not?
Because I think he can take the starter role, but I think Alfred Payton, if he's back again, it kind of deserves the starting role again because he did start to get hurt. To be fair.
I would still put Kobe White next to Drew Holiday.
I in my mind he's there already, but
Yeah.
like I'm just benefit of the doubt is there. So, but no, I think the team needs a lot of things. So at this point, I'm just going with let's lock up that point guard position. Drew Holiday's under contract, so we're good there. Let's move forward as a franchise.
You've been a big fan of Darius Garland. Why not Darius Garland here?
Because I love the defensive idea of having to get by Kobe White and Drew Holiday. Like, those are 2 guards. Drew Holiday is obviously voted one of the most underrated players in the NBA, yet again, because he's phenomenal defensively and has a good offensive game, above average, I'd say. But at the same time, Kobe White is another one of those guys who's a 2-way player, can drive to the hoop, can shoot from the outside, and he can come in and doesn't have the pressure of leading a bad team. He can come in and play with a guy like Drew, who is the leader, who's established. And, I'm assuming the Anthony Davis, that's all folks thing will be situated by, hopefully, this point.
Draft night.
We'll see, though. If it's not, it's not. But that team has at least a brighter future by adding another stable point guard who I think is going to be kind of a linchpin for this team going forward.
Mm-hmm. Ricky, you have him going Brandon Clark.
With me, first off, with the Pelicans, just in general, was anyone else super excited when they saw David Griffin was going to be their new executive VP?
It. Yeah.
Because I was like, holy shit, this franchise is going to get good again very soon. Yeah, with me, the decision was basically Brandon Clark or Jarret Culver. And I could have had them go Culver because, like we talked about earlier, with Dave, you said, like, oh, he's not a number 1 scorer. Correct. He wouldn't have to be. He got Drew Holiday. The only thing with that is I wasn't super confident in it. And when I look at the front court for the Pelicans, there's a lot of uncertainty for me because next year, for sure, these are the guys that I know are going to be there. Christian Wood, Jahlil Okafor. I don't know.
That's a club option.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if Julius Randle is going to be there.
For $9 million, probably not.
Like
For a lot more than that, maybe.
He'll probably decline it. And yes, the Pelicans might try to get him to stay, but who knows if he's like a Boogie and goes to another team. I'm not saying he goes for what Boogie went for, but another team signs him. Anthony Davis, he's played his last game as a Pelican. He is not going to be back next season.
By the way, Alfred is an unrestricted free agent, so he may not even be there.
So, I mean, like, I look at it, and it's like the only guy that played minutes this season of good, consistent minutes, Jahlil Okafor. He's the only guy that I know for sure because I don't think they're going to pass on him at $1.7 million for next year.
Christian Wood played okay.
He played okay, so he'll be there too. But I mean, that's why I go Brandon Clark because this team is going to need somebody. And what's going to help me in the future? Having a guy like Brandon Clark who can be kind of like a stable for me down low, or taking a Jarret Culver where I already have Etuan Moore, I already have Solomon Hill, I already have Drew Holiday. Are they going to bring back Alfred Payton? We don't even know. So, I mean, that's why with me, I was looking at Brandon Clark and kind of went more BPA, you could say, over a position that I think would be more of a need with, or actually flip it. I went with more of a need than a BPA that would have been maybe Jarret Culver. So flip that.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think you do think Jarret Culver's a better player, so I don't know about BPA.
And we don't even know right now with Jarret Culver where like
You've had
he
Culver in
hasn't.
your top
No.
five,
I'm
so-
just saying, like, we don't know. There are now rumors that he may go back to school.
That'd be
next year.
stupid. With the Pelicans, I already talked about this a little bit earlier. Cam Reddish, though, I think that he needs the ball in his hands to be successful. Go to a team where you're going to have that opportunity, and you're going to have that opportunity with Drew Holiday. Yes, he's the number one scoring option, but also he's going to put up 18 points at the most. They're going to need
if he's the only guy, I can see him putting up like 22 again.
But I think if you're going to be bringing back Julius Randle, if you give him a long-term deal, if Cam Reddish is there, I think that he'll probably go back to an 18, to 16 point per game player. And I think that they're getting guys to take shots, and I think Cam Reddish is going to be able to do that. Now, can he do that efficiently? I don't know, but I don't think the Pelicans are going to be aiming to be good. And I think that the Pelicans will be fine if Jarret Culver, if Cam Reddish takes his time developing, and that's why I think that would be the perfect place for him. There's not going to be a lot of pressure on him media-wise. There's not going to be a lot of pressure on him, at least basketball-wise. There's not going to be pressure for him to be a star right away, and I think it's a great place for him to grow.
This year was the most points that Drew has averaged per game in New Orleans at 21.2, up from 19 last year.
I think that he's more traditionally just going to be around 18. I think that, with AD being gone, I think that's something you saw the most shots he's ever taken. Drew Holiday at 17.3. I think you're going to probably see consistently more of his career. He's probably going to regress back to that like 13.5 a game, field goal attempts per game. So I don't think we're really going to see the 17 or 15. Even if he stays at 15 and is around 19 points, I think you're still going to need somebody else to take the ball away from him at times and bring the ball up and be a secondary ball handler. And I think that's the at least the mold that Cam Reddish should try to fit is a secondary ball handler at the 2 or the 3 and be able to be a guy who can put up points for this team. And I think if he's going to be doing that, I think the Pelicans are probably the best spot for him in the top 7 to do that at, maybe outside the Knicks, but Knicks aren't going to do that if they have the number 1 pick. So I like Cam Reddish a lot there for the Pelicans. I don't know if I like Cam Reddish, but I like the fit. I think that he's an intriguing enough player with that potential to go 7. Let's move now to the Grizzlies. I have him going Darius Garland. You have him going Jarret Culver, Ricky. And then, Dave, you also have him going Darius Garland. Dave, we talked about this last time. I love this fit. I love this fit.
It's a perfect
It's a great fit.
You add in one of the best scoring guards coming out of high school, and we only got to see him for a couple games in college, but still, you see he has something about his scoring game. All 3 levels hit. He's not afraid to pull the trigger on anything. He's got that confidence in himself. And I think going forward, him working along with Mike Conley is a perfect pairing. Obviously, Mike Conley probably not going to be there for the long term, but if you can get a year under him with Mike Conley, I think that's the ideal mentor for him to grow up with.
No, me, I'm going BPA. Like, Culver has fallen in mine. This is where the fall stops. And the Grizzlies, yes, Garland is there. Yes, point guard is probably a bigger need for them because, Conley, could work this year, but who knows how long Mike Conley is there. Do they trade him after this year? Is he there at the end of his contract? Do they even re-sign him after next year? Because I'm assuming he's going to, he might take the player up. I don't know. But after he's done, is he still going to be there? But I look at it in the shooting guards, Justin Holiday is not going to be there because ever since we traded him to Memphis, he hasn't been the Justin Holiday that he was in Chicago. And then Avery Bradley, I think that Memphis fans might be sitting there going, I can't wait for this contract to be up. So Jarret Culver could be there.
They just got him. I don't think it's that bad.
I mean,
they got him at the trade deadline.
I think it's something where you can look at it and go, hey, you know what? He can be behind Avery Bradley for a year, and then Avery Bradley kind of goes a separate way, and Jarret Culver becomes our starting shooting guard after his first year in the NBA, and then works on becoming the starter for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, Avery Bradley was low-key good for Memphis in those 14 games. 46.3% from the field, 38.4% from 3, 92% from the line.
It's a completely
4
different player.
assists, 16 points per game. I don't know if they're really waiting for that contract to be up, too. It's not like they're going to be spending on it. I think the Parsons one for sure. I think Culver's a good fit there. I think that's enough for the slide there. I don't think he's going to fall below 8. But he's already off my board, and I think that Dave already hit on the points with Garland. You need someone who's going to be scorer on that team. Jaren Jackson, I think at his peak, will probably put up 19 at the most. I don't think he's going to be ever topping a 20-point per game scorer. I think he's going to be very good both defensively and offensively. But I think that you look at Darius Garland, he can be a 25-point game per per score.
Oh, absolutely.
If he's getting those shots, he's getting them open looks because his ability to shoot from deep, his ability to attack, he's
got
so
great
quick.
handles too.
Yeah, and he's got great handles. It's a great point. His ability to penetrate and attack. Size might be a worry too with him, but I think he's got more moves than like a Trae Young. I think he can take a little bit more damage when he's driving to the lane.
Yeah,
it's not like Trae Young's gonna get Trae Young driving is gonna get murdered. That's why he needs a floater. Darius Garland can go and attack the rim and lay some buckets in. So I think that Darius Garland would be a very nice fit. And if you have a great offensive player in Darius Garland and you have a very good two-way player in Jaren Jackson, it's really a nice building block there for Memphis. They just won the coin flip too. So
what about the wet boy?
Joe or Bruno?
Obviously, it's Bruno. I mean,
Joe was a wet boy.
I don't know.
They had two.
He's not.
Dylan Brooks was also a wet boy, not Marshawn.
I would put Bruno in that, this young core. Same with JV. Like, they've got, the former Raptors crew, and then they've got Jaren Jackson Jr. now.
DeLon Wright, too.
DeLon Wright, triple-double out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Not super young, but still interesting player. And Darius Garland, player who basically they're like, do we want to lose this, draft pick this year or not? That was the interesting thing at the end. It seemed like they were winning games.
Yeah. Well, and they're close, too. They won a coin flip with the Hawks. They would have been at 9 if they didn't. They won the coin flip. They're now at 8. So if they're at 8 or above, they will keep the pick. If not, it's going to go to the Celtics. So this is a big pick for the Grizzlies too, because adding a guy like Darius Garland, I think, would be massive for this team. But having to wait another year, be very, very painful.
Yeah. It turns into the free agency game. Like, who can you try to throw some money at to pull away? What can you do?
Yeah. But a good thing, too, if they lose the pick, they did take Jaren Jackson, who was the youngest player in the draft last year. So he's still going to be very young next year. He's going to be very young when it comes to the 2020 draft. But let's now move to the Hawks with their second pick. I have Jackson Hayes. Ricky, you have Bol Bol. Dave, you have Jackson Hayes. I think some people are wondering where's Daniel Gafford for the center pick. He's just older than Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes is very moldable, I think. Someone brought up the fact that Daniel Gafford has been playing basketball for less time than Jackson Hayes. But a thing that I just like is Jackson Hayes is very athletic, and I think that his full potential hasn't been reached because he wasn't playing with a lot of great guards. He was playing with Kerwin Roach from Texas, and I think that Roach, I think he was the kid who was battling cancer. One of the guys who was on Texas battling cancer. And it was just a weird situation with Texas because they were really playing through their guards and they weren't really playing through their centers. They weren't really getting involved a ton. And I think that we just really didn't see the full potential of Jackson Hayes. And you might look at the numbers and see, Gafford has better numbers. But I think the thing with Hayes is that he is very athletic. He has a great body. And I think the potential there is a lot to be untapped. And that's why I think the Hawks go with him. Defensively, he looks like he would be great next to John Collins. And the athleticism between those two would be absolutely massive. So I think you got to look at that. And Jackson Hayes being younger than Daniel Gafford and having more untapped potential, in my mind, is a reason why the Hawks go.
It was Andrew Jones who had cancer. Kerwin Roach had a torn meniscus.
Gotcha.
In 2018. But I agree. And there's just something about his defensive instincts that are already there. I think Daniel Gafford just doesn't have that. There's something Jackson Hayes knows and has a sixth sense for when to swat. And yes, that can lead to some foul issues at times, but I just think that defensive instinct pays off. And if you can add to his offensive game, like you said, maybe it's the supporting cast around him, maybe it's situational, but he's got a long way to grow as a player, which is exciting. And I think that his fit next to John Collins is ideal.
Does it concern you that he and this could be something where of the team he was on, does it concern you that Hayes was only grabbing 5 boards per game at the center position?
Not really, because John Collins is an amazing rebounder.
Yeah. The thing, too, with Jackson Hayes, I think his rebound percentages are actually great. That was one big concern.
Oh, he's also limited minutes. If you look at his per-game minutes.
Yeah, 23 minutes per game.
Yeah, his per 40 is about 8.6, which still isn't great. But a thing that I do like about him, and this is a big thing that I have a problem with Justin Patton, was that he wasn't a good rebounder coming out. But I think when you look at Hayes' offensive rebound percentage and defensive rebound percentage, they are still low. But when you're not consistently in there, I think that kind of takes back from him. Again, it's untapped potential is the reason why I'm going with this here. There are concerns, and rebounding is definitely one of them, and I'm glad you brought that up.
And for me, this is easy. Yes, I go center along with you guys, but I'm going to go with the center that can shoot some threes, and that's Bol. Like, he's the one where next to John Collins can be down there, and then Bol can be the guy who is with Trae Young, with Herter. This team is going to want to push and go in transition. Bol can do that.
And
he
DeAndre Hunter on your earlier
and
pick.
DeAndre Hunter.
So yeah, he's a matchup nightmare.
Let's just
pulling
shoot
centers out the low post.
Let's just shoot threes, man. Just shoot threes all day with this team, and that's how they're going to win.
All right.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't know if I love the fit, but at the same time, I think that it's unique in it that his potential. Again, it's hard to pass up.
I wouldn't touch him in the top 10. Let's move down to the
know.
T-Wolves.
Made that pretty clear.
We know.
I know. Move that with T-Wolves. I have him going Kobe White. Ricky, you have him going Jarret Garland. Dave, you have him going Brandon Clark. I love the Brandon Clark fit.
I think that's a 1,000,000,000% fit for me.
We said it last time.
Yep.
Great fit.
He's Cat's new best friend.
He was just off my board.
Yeah, I understand, and that's tough for you. But for me, I'm like, Cat, your problems are being solved right away. We're finally getting around. It shouldn't not right away. Your problems are getting solved by this kid coming up who absolutely loves defense, loves hustle, gives a ton of effort, is old enough so he's not like a rook coming in, you know, and he comes in and makes a huge difference to this team because he's the ultimate fit guy for what they need. Moving forward, Timberwolves have a brighter future because of him. The big question is, it's still not all of their problems addressed, but it's the biggest one because Cat is notoriously awful, lazy, and does not practice defense. As Jimmy Butler said in the most recent Game of His Zones.
Dude, Game of Zones.
It was amazing.
That. I want the baker's son and the chicken.
And the goat.
Yeah, and the goat.
Yeah, that was a great episode.
great.
Sean, I didn't watch it.
Nope.
Jimmy Butler practice was the first episode.
How about we
with
end
the Timberwolves?
How about we end this process?
Yeah.
Puts on the headband.
It was fantastic.
Sick.
But no, I think it's a great fit. Brandon Clark, ton of talent. You know, him going from a smaller school to a larger school and being able to maintain his scoring, continue to build as a player, really proved a lot. Because I wasn't sure when he made that transfer over how good he was going to be, but incredible. He was still an incredible player. He's probably top 5 player in college basketball by the end of the year. I would say, impact-wise, like I know Zion's at the very top, but he's a very good player.
Game of Thrones, real quick. I placed a bet on someone to win the
death poll.
the throne. No,
Oh,
the throne.
The throne?
I don't know who I picked. I forgot. But it was definitely one that was really bad. I want to throw it out there. I'll throw it out there later. Let's keep it with the
John or
T-Wolves.
Daenerys.
I am going Kobe White. I think they need a guard to help take some offensive pressure off
Got a
Cat.
problem with Jeff Teague?
Yeah, he took his option, so he's going to be on the team.
Yeah.
And I
That's a
think
lot of
Teague off
money.
the bench would be interesting. I just see the T-Wolves played better when D-Rose is out there. I think Kobe White just being out there, he's quicker, he's better, he's not injured, and he's going to be more of a consistent shooter from three. I think
Hopefully he doesn't look to take as many shots as Jeff Teague did,
No,
because
I'm
that was
saying-
the killer.
I'm saying he's going to be replacing D-Rose.
Oh.
So he's going to be fixing what D-Rose did. And he's going to be healthier. He's going to be shooting the ball more. He's going to be dishing the ball more. And I
That
think
team was good with Derrick Rose.
that's what I'm
And
saying.
Walton.
So if D-Rose leaves,
You can't replace Kobe White is not Derrick Rose.
I'm saying if D-Rose leaves, he's going to have to fill the role of D-Rose.
But Walt Lemon Jr. is.
Am I wrong, though, by saying that if D-Rose leaves, the next point guard in, as in Kobe White, will need to take his spot?
You can't say take his spot because he can't. He will try to be a bench point guard for them.
Why will he fail? What does he
I didn't
have
say
that
he's gonna
D-Rose
fail.
doesn't?
I didn't say he's going to fail.
Okay.
I just said that
You
he
sound
will
very
try.
down on this T-Wolves pick for Kobe White.
I just think that they're stuck with Jeff Teague and Kobe White. Yes, they want to make him the next guy.
One more year of Teague.
Yeah, they're stuck with him for this year.
Okay, but what's wrong with Kobe White on T-Wolves?
Nothing. I hate when you get all aggressive about Derrick Rose. So I felt the need to defend him and his great
And his
year last
honor.
year.
I'm
He had a
saying,
great year.
and that's why I'm saying
Dave's
that
fighting
if
for D-Rose's
D-Rose,
honor.
I'm saying if D-Rose leaves,
Yes.
Kobe White
Yep.
will be the next point guard to take his spot.
Yep. I
And-
just taking his spot sounds so
Dagger.
something.
Just-
Yeah.
You're turning the knife a little bit.
I'm reading too
on
much into it,
Dave.
Sean.
Yeah, you're just being a bitch. But yeah, I think
That's how that
I think
feels.
Kobe White will
Be
be
professional.
I think Kobe White will be a scoring point guard who will try
I don't
to
think they need a
stretch
scoring
the
point guard.
floor. Why not?
Because they already have Andrew Wiggins and Cat. And I know
Andrew
everybody
Wiggins
hates it.
is the worst shooter in the NBA.
Correct.
There's a
So you
literal
might not
video
like my
that
pick
explains
either
how
of
bad he
Darius
is.
Garland.
No, I'm just saying, like, I don't think they need that. If you want to make Andrew Wiggins work, he has to play the 2, and he has to take shots. Like, he provides no other value, so you're stuck with him for several years under contract.
I think you're just stuck with him. I just don't think he has any value. Whether you could try anything with him. I just think he's
you play him
really bad.
exclusively against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
There you go. That's one of them. I think he's just that's the thing is you can't take him out of the starting lineup. You have to play him.
I know, that's why
he's really bad.
I think Kobe White's a good fit because I don't think Kobe White has to jack up shots to be a good team player because he was a good team player at UNC.
Yeah, no, I
think
agree
the
with
fit
that.
is good.
I'm thinking though he's just going to come off the bench and D-Rose put up 18. I don't think he'll put up 18, but I think he'll be able to put up like 15 or maybe like 14. Like I think
I'm looking
gonna
at
be a
him
good
being
scorer.
like a 10-5 guy.
Well, I think that this is a Timberwolves team that does not play defense. So I think that they're going to have so many
It's a lot of
opportunities
possessions.
to score.
Yeah, it's a lot of possessions.
I don't think I think he's a very mature scorer, and I think that
Yeah.
he
Does the
will
fro
have
stay?
a ton of shots. What?
Does his fro stay? Does he
Hope
keep
so.
growing it?
I'd be pissed off if he doesn't.
I'm just saying.
That's a great fro.
Yeah.
It's one of the best. It's best hair in this draft.
It's better than
for
Jarrett
sure.
Allen. I know Jarrett Allen's was great. Spence Dinwiddie, same thing. I like the
Yeah.
Brooklyn Nets. I wish I could mock him there just to keep
Allen
the fro group together.
and Dinwiddie have too much. It's too preppy. Like it's too
Too clean?
Yeah, it's too clean. I love Kobe White.
Yeah.
Just like Kobe White just hasn't gotten a haircut in 4 years, and that's what I love about it. It's great. But yeah, Kobe White I think is a good fit there. Garland's an interesting one though.
Yeah, that was just one where I was looking at it, and it's like in the past mock drafts, let's see, 4.0 when we had the T-Wolves, I had the Brandon Clark thing that Dave was going on with. But this time around, I got Clark going a little bit higher. So if I were to, let's say I flip things and I had the Pelicans go with Culver instead of Clark, then maybe the Grizzlies go... Let's see, what did I have them
Maybe
go
a Darius
last time?
Garland, and then you would have Brandon
Maybe
Clark at the Timberwolves
maybe
like I did.
Darius Garland,
Yeah,
and then
exactly what I
Bobo the Hawks, and then Brandon Clark. So I mean,
that's
basically
fine.
the Pelican
They
pick
could use a scoring
screwed
guard.
the T-Wolves.
I mean, like Sean said, the year before, they had Jamal Crawford still playing, and he was their scorer. Whether that was right or wrong is not my choice, but that's what it was. Last year was Derrick Rose's show, so I agree. Like, they have had a great scorer off the bench in the past 2 years in a row, so to go for a young kid who can do the same thing, I don't disagree. I just don't know that that's necessarily the way to get the best out of their starters long term.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think the T-Wolves are just in such a bad spot with that contract of Andrew Wiggins, and it's the thing that's going to kill him.
Would you give up a 10th overall pick to move that contract? Like what?
Ooh,
Right? I mean,
no.
that I would sit on it. I would keep trying to build. I know it sucks, but like, there's got to be hope that he's going to turn a corner, or
There's got to be some way he's
the
usable.
final year. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
and he's just not. Like,
maybe. Yeah.
I think there was something he's only good on the right side of the floor, or something like that.
I wouldn't be surprised
Might
to
be a
see a
different.
shooting
No,
chart.
that's Bagley. Bagley's only good on the right side of the floor.
Well, yeah, we knew that coming out of
Yeah.
college. Like we made jokes about that during the draft.
I'm mixing up my videos though. But yeah, like Wiggins is just hopeless. I don't know. If he comes back and puts up like an efficient 20 next year, he's comeback player of the year, without a doubt.
Like his scoring doesn't change at all. It's just efficiency went up.
Yeah.
Player of the year.
Seriously. But he's so inefficient, it's bad. That's gonna do it for the 1 through 10. Any final thoughts?
It was fun.
No, I absolutely loved it.